All right, this next question is gigantic. There's a huge backstory to it. I'm not going to tell you the whole backstory. I'm just going to get right to the question. I'll see if I need to explain any of this. The question is, how do I push myself and survive the discomfort when it's at its peak and when others are depending on me? I know I have to go through the crap. I edited that a little bit because I don't swear. Well, I do, but not now. I don't want to go through the crap to get to the bed of roses on the other side. No, I know that I have to go through the crap to get to the bed of roses on the other side. I know it's the shit. Yeah, okay. I got to throw one of them in there because she used it a bunch of times. So this is in honor of your question. I know it's the shit that keeps me growing and expanding and helping me play a bigger game. It's the elephant. I feel like I need to dig a hole and climb in until the feeling goes away. It's so much better I'm so much better with all of this than I was before. Now this comes up only a few times a year. It used to be my norm. All right, I'm going to attack those last two sentences because you spent a lot of time talking about how bad the problem was, and then you acknowledged this used to be my norm, and now it only happens a few times a year. You gave two short sentences to acknowledge the progress and about 1,000 characters to talk about the problem. Now, I'm not saying to play Pollyanna and pretend that everything is okay and just put your head in the sand, but I'm saying, can we acknowledge with more encouragement how freaking awesome it is that this happens a few times a year when it used to be your norm? And if this question was rooted in that, it would sound different. But the way you're holding on to this question, you're making it a huge emotional issue when it's not, compared to the amount of progress you've made. And I want to speak to this for a second. A lot of people think this is just splitting hairs and I'm being too elementary or too overboard with language. This is freaking huge. This is huge. The way we hold on to our problems is gigantic. Because if we are saying, I have made so much progress, I am proud of myself that what used to be my norm is now just popping up every 4 months. How awesome is that? Let me just take a second and celebrate this. Yes. And in the spirit of progress, I'd like to know when that stuff still comes up every 4 months, is there anything more that I could be doing? I'm telling you, all you have to do is change the energy of the question, and the answers are easier to find. Because if we over-exaggerate the problem, then there's going to be a piece of you. Your little unconscious mind is going to go, man, can I just get some love over here? I've been working my tail off to do all this stuff, and all I hear is how bad of a problem this is. There will be a piece of you that just wants to quit. It's like you cleaning up the entire house, and then mom comes in and goes, well, you missed that corner. Well, how about looking at the rest of the house, mom? This is gigantic. Our relationship with ourself is gigantic. And then we can take a look at the progress that we still want to make as just a blip, instead of the way this was presented. The problem is just a blip. The way this was presented is, oh yeah, by the way, I'm so much better now than I ever have been. But let me talk about this major problem that I still have. So having said all of that, there are, if I want to make this as simple as possible, there are two things that you are going to be committed to. You are either going to be committed to your comfort, or you are going to be committed to your growth. That's it. The comfortable path has everything you're wanting. It has the elimination of the doubts. It has the elimination of the fears. It has the absence of all of the internal challenge and chatter. It has all of this stuff. It has the absence of the limiting beliefs and all of that stuff. But you can't follow the path of comfort and expect the results of growth. You can't. So part of this is, I signed up for this because there's something big that I'm up to in my life, and that's going to require me to grow. It's going to require me to walk on broken shards of glass. It's going to require me to do all of that stuff. And in the essence of acknowledgement and appreciation and gratitude, how can I get my mind back from the demons, let's say, to where I want it to be? And now we've got a much easier question that's being rooted in appreciation. And the answer to that question is change the conversation. Because if we say there's only two paths, one path is growth, one path is comfort. The path of comfort is all about guarantees and it's all about avoiding the pain. The path of growth is experiencing the pain, but for a purpose. And as long as your purpose is bigger than the pain, you'll continue going. When the pain is bigger than the purpose, you'll stop. And so to me, it's actually really easy. It's asking yourself the question, why am I doing this? I'm choosing the elephant. I'm choosing the pain. Why am I making that choice? Because when you focus on that, now you're focused on service to others instead of protection of self. Protection of self is going to shut us down. Service of others is going to inspire us to keep moving. And it's going to cause us to raise our viewpoint, our focus above the challenge to the target. And then it's easier to just go, I'm here to serve people. I'm less committed to avoiding my own personal pain of the ego, and I'm more committed to serving somebody out there who needs to hear me. And in my experience, that dissolves this entire problem. For the most part, it dissolves the problem. If there's any residue left, because you've got a deep-seated limiting belief around visibility or around success or around, some kind of core wound, all right, now we can let that rise to the surface. But what I just said will solve 95% of the problems for 95% of the people. It's just simply change the channel in your head, because service to others comes with inspiration. It comes with bravery. It comes with the courage. Protection of self comes with none of those things, other than those things being applied to protect yourself, to protect your ego. And when you're focused on protection of self, it feels like you have to go through the crap in order to get to the roses on the other side. I want you to see that the danger, in my analogy, I always use a fire, right? The big fire in your fears is not standing, it's not between where you are right now and the goals that you have, because then you have to motivate yourself to move through the fire. The fire is underneath you. The real fire of regret is underneath you. And if you don't go forward towards your goals, that's going to provide more pain than the fire will if you move through it and get burned. Right? And you just think, like, in reality, if you move your hand through a flame, even if you move it slowly, that's way better than leaving it above the flame and just waiting for it to get hot. Like, your skin will melt as that flame sends the heat upward. You can't do that. You have to move your hand. The pain of regret is underneath us. The pain of failure is in front of us. While we look at the pain of failure, it's scary. When we focus on the pain of regret, it's a million times worse. So my experience is, when you realize that You don't want to stay where you are. You don't want to experience regret. You'd rather experience the failure. Then you move through the fire faster and it doesn't even burn you. And then you get to actually help people. You get to connect with others. You get the momentum. See, one of the worst things that we can do when we're experiencing internal struggles is to stop moving and look at the struggle. Look at it from this angle, look at it from that angle, look at it from underneath, look at it from on top, use all the labels that we have, use all the justifications that we have. That's the worst way to solve any problem, by stopping and looking at it. Problems will always be easier to solve in motion. So we've got to keep moving and then just change the channel as we're in motion of service rather than protection. Growth versus comfort.